It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. Let's get out of here. Aye. Are we there yet? What's going on? Let's go, Jesus. So I'm going to share a video of JD Frog. He was right on. He's been right on a lot lately, and it's one of those videos that you can't really talk about much on YouTube because of the censorship, but he goes into it. So this is from his website. He was pointing to, he's not a date guy, but he was kind of sort of sharing a bit of a plan for 2023. And so he's really feeling that we're close, and I think we're all feeling it. But he said something in the middle of his video that I just wanted to highlight. And he only talked about it for about 5 minutes. And that's just explaining this rapture and this 7-year tribulation that's coming. A lot of people get confused. Some people think it's 3.5 years. They think it's or they don't know about the pre-rapture. So I wanted to highlight 3 things that just really make a statement here, and also share his video in my description box. I'll do that, okay? And you can look at what he was talking about how close we actually are, and explaining it through the which I can't really say on YouTube. So pre-fire, pre-flood, pre-famine, and I'll say that again: pre-fire, pre-famine, pre-flood. Okay, so pre-fire, pre-famine, pre-flood, and the whole 7-year thing. Okay, so let's start with that. So the pre-fire. So in Daniel chapter 2, okay, Daniel basically tells Nebuchadnezzar's dream, and in verse 46, the king Nebuchadnezzar fell on his face, prostrate before Daniel, and commanded that they should present an offering and incense to him. Essentially what happens is Daniel gets promoted. Okay, Daniel gets promoted. And it says that in verse 49, Daniel sat in the gate of the king. So Daniel is a type and shadow of the church, the raptured group. Daniel gets promoted. He's like a big royal guy. He's royalty. He's the church. Okay. And then chapter 3, verse 1, Nebuchadnezzar makes this golden image that he wants people to worship. And 60 cubits, and its width is 6. So we got a bunch of 6s there in Daniel 3. But remember, Daniel's here, and now we want a different group to worship this image. And of course, we know that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they say, no way, no, hey, no, we don't want to worship that thing. No, nothing get. And so, they get thrown into a furnace, and it's he says, you know what, heat it up to times 7. Throw some 7s in there. And then later on, there's more 7s in Daniel 4:16. Let 7 times pass over him. This is when he was being told, yeah, you're going to turn into a beast. It says it again in Daniel 4:23 about 7 times. It says it again in verse 25, 7 times. It says it again over here in verse 32 of Daniel 4. And 7 times shall pass over you. Okay? So there's our 7. So we've got Daniel being the church, and we've got Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego representing Israel. Church up, Israel goes through. Okay, so that's 1. And then we've got, so that was pre-fire, okay? Pre-furnace, pre-fire, pre-famine. Let's go to Joseph. Joseph being a type and shadow of the church, and his brothers being a type and shadow of Israel. Like literally Jacob is Israel, right? Jacob's name, Israel. So in Genesis 41, 40 through 45, again, just like Daniel, he got promoted to royalty. Joseph gets promoted to royalty. Perfect, right? Bride of Christ. Okay, so it says there, let me see here, in verse 41. Chapter 41, verse 41, and Pharaoh said to Joseph, see, I have set you over all the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh took his signet ring off his hand and put it on Joseph's hand, and he clothed him in garments of fine linen and put a gold chain around his neck, and he had him ride in the second chariot which he had. And they cried out before him, bow the knee. So he set him over all the land of Egypt. Pharaoh also said to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without your consent no man may lift his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zaphnath-Paneah, and he gave him a wife. All right, so he got a gentle bride. And then, here we go, we've got these 7 years of plenty, 7 years of famine. So just like Daniel, 7 times with the furnace and 7 years with being a beast, we go to Joseph, same thing, royalty and 7 years of plenty, and then 7 years of famine. And who comes to him? It's Jacob. Jacob's sons come to him, and Jacob. because of the 7 years of famine. So the church is up and out, and Israel goes through. So, all right. So that's pre-famine. Now we got pre-flood. Genesis chapter 5. What happens in Genesis chapter 5? Enoch being a type and shadow of the church, and Noah and his family being a type and shadow of Israel. So Enoch, we've got Genesis 5:23. So all the days of Enoch were 365 years, and Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. God took him. And in Genesis 7, verse 4, I would expect to see some sevens in there, and sure enough, we do. And this is literally in Genesis 7, and Noah and his family is brought into the ark, and in verse 4 it says, "For after 7 more days I will cause it to rain." So there's a lot of sevens in here, and where does it say that he's been in there for one second? Oh yeah, I said the right verse, 7:4. And after 7 more days I will cause it to rain. So he's basically in the ark for 7 days before the flood. So we have these 3 stories really depicting this pre-rapture thing, pre-trib rapture. We've got Group A, church promoted to royalty, escapes the furnace, which was multiplied by 7. We've got the second story of Joseph promoted to royalty, escapes the 7 years of famine. We've got Enoch taken out before the flood. We've got Noah representing Israel, 7 days on the ark before it started to rain. So we've got these 7s everywhere. We've got these 2 groups everywhere. We've got the church and we've got Israel. The church, Israel. Church, Israel, 7, 7, 7. So here we are. And again, I'll just point you to JD's video, kind of indicating how close we are. We got to be close, man. We got to be super duper close. So hope this kind of clarifies some things. And got to get tight with Christ. Romans 10:9-13. Read it. Believe it in your heart. Get her done. Okay? See you in the clouds. One day closer. Go, Jesus, go. Bye.